Alrighty, strap in everybody, we got a big one for you guys today. Hey, what's up everyone, it's me, SpeedSuperSonic, bringing us another video, and in this video today, we are back talking about Sonic Movie 3, but there are no leaks, there are no rumors, we have an official, massive article from Entertainment Weekly. They dropped a bunch of new images, new stills from Sonic Movie 3, but not just that, they did interviews with a bunch of people involved with the film, including Jeff Fowler, who made a massive reveal about not just Sonic Movie 3, but what will set up Sonic Movie 4. So we got a lot to go over, we're not going to skip any details, this is the spot to know everything about Sonic Movie 3, so we're going to be going over the entire article word for word, because I'm seeing a lot of people talking about quotes from this article, but not the article as a whole. So without any further ado, let's take a look at the entire thing. We have no time to waste, let's break it down. How Sonic 3 went bigger with Shadow's origin story and 2 Jim Carrey's. Everything is pumped up. Exclusive. Ben Schwartz and director Jeff Fowler take EW inside their third foray, including another video game element brought to life. 20 years ago, Jeff Fowler, the current director of the Sonic the Hedgehog movies, began his career as a character animator in visual effects for Blur Studios, which worked on the Sonic games. We would get hired to create cool looking animations that could be put into video games that would get the gamers excited about what they were playing, Fowler recalls in an interview with Entertainment Weekly. Shadow became one of his first jobs. The character was introduced previously in 2001's Sonic Adventure 2 as an arch rival for the title hero, genetically engineered with the alien DNA by Professor Jared Robotnik. Shadow was another speedster, but he also came with teleportation powers and some fun gadgets, like a motorcycle and even handguns. He was so popular that Sega hired Blur, including Fowler, to help create the character's own standalone game, 2005's Shadow the Hedgehog. Edginess is maybe not the right word, but there was a new element tonally that just suddenly made the Sonic world feel a bit more exciting, a little bit more dangerous, Fowler says. And now with the filmmaker getting to introduce Shadow into his own movies with this December's Sonic the Hedgehog 3, he adds, "I think that's exactly what Shadow has done for this film." Okay, here we go. Keanu Reeves voices Shadow alongside the returning Ben Schwartz, Sonic, Colleen O'Shaughnessy Tails, Idris Elba Knuckles, and James Marsden Tom. I think that he's put in there too. And given that the film will explore Shadow's story from the games, Jim Carrey is pulling double duty in addition to reprising his role of zany Sonic Dr. Ivo Robotnik, and the comedy great also plays Robotnik's grandfather and Shadow's creator, and another equally intensive prosthetics and costume job. Then after that we get this picture, this awesome picture of Shadow in the rain, seemingly just walking amongst people in the background, which is super cool. It gives very like John Wick vibes, which is very funny because obviously Keanu Reeves is playing the character, but this looks so cool. I think this looks so sick. I feel like this film, it's got so much, Fowler adds. It's everything we've done in the previous films, but even more. It's exciting to hear. The CG is even more impressive. Everything is pumped up for this one, Schwartz says in a separate conversation. Producer Toby Asher talks about us having a lot of Avengers moments, which I love, but it's very much that everything is bigger in this movie and more impressive. We've definitely got a little taste of that from the trailer. Definitely visually looks much more striking than the first two films. That's probably due to a larger budget. We'll see what goes on, but it does look bigger in scale and just visually more impressive. Schwartz's first inkling that the movie might take off came from the response to the first film's trailer in 2019, or as he calls it, the trailer that shall not be named. The YouTube preview racked up millions of views, though a lot of fans had a lot of things to say about the design of Sonic, who was originally rendered with a more human-like face and teeth. Paramount taking the money and the time to adjust it a bit. It shows that we care, we're listening, the actor says. We are fans, we feel connected to the fans. The fact that some kids can now recognize Schwartz as the voice of Sonic years later feels exciting to him, especially considering he wasn't supposed to play Sonic originally. He met Tim Miller, the director of the first Deadpool and a co-founder of Blur Studios, where Fowler worked at the time. He was trying to get a Sonic movie made and needed someone to voice the character for a 5-minute short that would be used to sell the concept to Paramount Pictures. There literally wasn't a contract. I did it just for the test, knowing that they'll probably find someone bigger or more famous, Schwartz remembers. They just loved that test so much that they kept me around. That's so sweet. And then we have this other shot right here. We can see Gerald Robotnik, Shadow, Dr. Robotnik, and Agent Stone all here. It looks like they're in some kind of alley or backlot. Very cool. It's just interesting seeing both of the Robotniks alongside each other. That's so interesting and different for the Sonic franchise and universe. And then Shadow, of course, looks awesome. And then there's Agent Stone too. On a break from finalizing the franchise's third entry in his edit bay in Santa Monica, California in late October, Fowler reflects on the massive success of these family-friendly animated movies. The first one still ranks as one of the highest-grossing video game to movie adaptations of all time. I don't feel like we are always moving forward, he says. For me, the most exciting thing is just getting the opportunity to tell more stories and bring in more characters. It's the natural tendency with movie making that you have to go a little bigger or grow in certain ways in order for the next film to feel like a must-see thing, Fowler continues. With this film, I mean, it had so much going for it in the first week, we sat down to write it. That's cool. It just sounds like they were genuinely passionate about this film, like they knew what they had on their hands of something special, so let's continue reading. Similar to how the ending of Sonic the Hedgehog 2020 teased tales ahead of the character's formal entry in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 2022, the sequel came with an end credits tag to tee up the arrival of Shadow. Now the third film delivers the major beats of that character's story, even if some of them are a bit more heavy than Sonic's own origin. No spoilers, but there's an emotional core to Shadow's journey that involves Gerald's granddaughter, Maria, played in the movie by Alia Brown. Obviously, us as Sonic fans know what that spoiler is, but you know, let's read what he has to say. That's the challenge of these films, Fowler explained, of recontextualizing story points in the games to align with their premise. It's always to take what has come before in terms of the video games and the comics and all that. How do we take the essence of the fans' love and merge it with this movie treatment that we created? On a similar note, the filmmaker points to Shadow's motorcycle and guns in the gaming space. We certainly are very respectful about what fans expect to see and what they love about the character. We're also very aware of the times and right away to handle that kind of imagery in a family film, he continues. I think we really ended up in a great place. I think fans will watch the film and really appreciate Shadow and Maria. A lot of care and a lot of love has gone into telling Shadow's story and giving fans the best movie version of the character imaginable. That's really good to hear. It sounds like low-key confirmation of, yo, this is a family film. There's gonna be no Shadow handling guns or anything like that, shooting people. And maybe even a tease that Maria's death might not be too crazy, but when he talks about the times, maybe they'll have some kind of, you know, discussion of gun violence and trigger-happy people of law enforcement, but we'll see. That would be very bold for the Sonic movies to do, but he does talk about it being a family film, so we'll see if they actually show Maria getting shot. We'll see. And then we have this image of Robotnik and Gerald walking side by side, which is so cool. I love that Jim Carrey, like, really doubled down with this film. It's like, okay, we're gonna do two characters. I'm gonna play Gerald and I'm gonna play Robotnik. Even Reeves, as Fowler recalls of their first meeting for the role, seemed invested in the character. The Matrix and John Wick star came prepared with insightful questions about what they were trying to achieve. He had really done his homework, Fowler remembers. Do you realize how badly I want to meet Keanu Reeves? Schwartz, who recorded his voiceover for Sonic separate from the cast, exclaims. I've been pushing so hard. I haven't even met Idris yet. That's crazy. And we've done 2 movies and a TV show together. In addition to Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and 3, Schwartz and Elba voiced their roles for this year's Paramount Plus show Knuckles. Because this is Shadow's origin story, the team knew they needed another element to tell it. The other Robotnik, their hope from conception was for Carrey to play Shadow's creator on top of his duties as Ivo. Fowler acknowledges it was such a big ask. Logistically, it meant the Ace Ventura actor would have twice the amount of work since they couldn't possibly film both performances on the same days. Carrey's transformation into Gerald alone took 3 hours in the makeup chair every time. Luckily, Carrey was game. I don't know what we would have done, Fowler remarks. I don't even want to think about this. That's funny. The material seemed to write itself, the director also notes. At first, they focused on drawing parallels between these 2 mad scientists, not just with bald heads and giant mustaches, but also in their behavior and their attitude, he says. But then, just from a storytelling standpoint, it needed to go in some ways to create the right sort of conflict for the film. I don't want to give anything away, but it was really fun to plot that. To come up with all those interactions and all the different story needs that had to happen. Jim was just a great partner in designing all that. And then we have this image of Knuckles, Sonic, and Tails at the Chow Cafe or something like that. It's so cool. I'm so excited to see that. Other elements from the video games will be introduced for the first time on the big screen with Sonic 3, such as the cutesy Chow creatures of Chow Gardens, recurring locations in the games. Sonic Adventure 2 was a big inspiration for the direction of the new film, and Fowler's team wanted to make the Chow more than just a subtle Easter egg, so they reimagined these fairy-like creatures as part of a Chow Gardens themed restaurant in Tokyo, the city where Team Sonic and Shadow face off for the first time. I love that. Having them in there and making them look faithful, but still doing something more grounded in like the world, which I think is like kind of one of the draws of the Sonic movie universe, is the fact that, you know, this takes place in the real world. There's a deep love of animated characters in that culture in Tokyo, and it was very believable that if we had these Chow as a fictional character in that world, they could have a themed restaurant that we hear is a very popular must-see attraction, Fowler says. If we needed our little Team Sonic to have a moment to regroup and have a conversation about what was going on, why not have them take a seat at a Chow Gardens restaurant? Continuing the tradition set by the previous 2 films, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and in theaters December 20th, will also set the stage for a potential 4th movie to introduce another another video game character after Tails and now Shadow. Of course, don't expect Fowler to give up the goods just yet. It's fun to see the fan debates online about who's coming up next, who's going to be teased at the end of the film, he says. We have a lot of the same conversations. We've all got our favorites on the filmmaking side, and we're all making great cases for it should be this one or that one. It's fun to keep that anticipation. This movie is no different in terms of teasing new characters. There you guys have it. That is the article. That is very exciting and hell of a way to end that off. Firstly, great insight, great a bunch of little factoids in there and details on the film, which is very exciting, about Shadow, about Gerald and Jim Carrey's role of playing two Eggmans, and of course that tease of more characters to come. So we will see who that is. I kind of talked a little bit about this in our last video, saying that Paramount has plans for Silver, so we'll see who it's going to be. If I had to make a guess, I think it's going to be Amy, but you never know, they could really surprise us and just introduce a bunch of characters. They could introduce, you know, 2 characters. They could introduce just simply one who isn't Amy, which could be Silver. They could be, you know, they could do the Chaotix. They could do someone completely different out of left field that we were not expecting, but I am incredibly excited for that. I simply cannot wait for this movie any longer. It's right around the corner, but I hope you guys know that with the release of this Entertainment Weekly article, that means we're getting a bunch of new stuff very soon, and possibly a brand new trailer, which would be very exciting. So stay tuned, because the marketing train is just getting started with this movie. There's so much more stuff on the way, from images to more interviews to articles to press junkets to TV spots to all this stuff. Get ready, the hype train is just getting started to roll. So with that said, this is where I ask you what you think. What do you think about the article, all the new details, and who do you think will be the new character teased at the end of Sonic Movie 3, setting up Sonic Movie 4? Let us know in the comment section down below. I'd love to know what you guys have to say. Feel free to follow my social media, links to my Twitter and Instagram in the description below. You can follow those fun things of my life, future content, and all things Sonic the Hedgehog. But most importantly, if you're not subscribed, make sure you're subscribed. This is the #1 destination on YouTube for all things Sonic. Whether it's video games, TV shows, movies, comics, merchandise, and more, we talk about it all. If you're looking forward to support the channel, become a channel member and join our Patreon. But guys, we have so much content on the way, not just in regards to Sonic Movie 3, but other things coming as well. I have a collection video coming to you guys finally. Now that I'm not sure if you guys noticed, we have a bunch of new stuff set up, and the other wall that you guys don't even see is filled up too. We have a lot of videos planned and a big treat for you guys in December, which I've been working on for months. But with all that said, I love you guys so much, and I will see you very shortly in the next video. Peace out.
And be right by the motherfucking seaside, dog. Everything I see, I got a dream. I thought these leaves would go and take me out the dark. I know everything I wanted to fall away.